Okay folks, this video is going to be like a daily record about eating carnivore for 30 days. I'm not necessarily doing it to lose weight. I have been reading some books. The one that I'm reading as we speak is called The Carnivore Diet by Dr. Shawn Baker. Previous to that, a book called Big Fat Surprise. I'll put the picture of the books up on the screen. The first one that started me along this path was Vaxxed, Unvaxxed by Bobby Kennedy. Some very disturbing but eye-opening things came about that for me. Last year, I was curious about carnivore. I don't know where it came about. It might have been something on the Joe Rogan podcast. I had already decided that I wanted to try the carnivore diet for 30 days, at least. We'll see how we go. Depending on how I feel, I'm either going to can it or we'll keep going. But just so many things already come up, like my business partner. Me mentioning this to him has been, the guy's been stressing big time thinking that I'm going to drop dead of a heart attack. Right? And it came up again today at lunch with a client of ours. People are genuinely like scared to the point that they're really trying to talk me out of this. I'm only sharing this because I have a suspicion, I have a high suspicion that whatever's going to unfold from this and later on down the track, people are going to start to see a new light. Originally, I was tempted to go and get blood work done just before this and just after. But based on what Shawn Baker's said, which kind of makes sense, if cholesterol is an ever fluctuating thing through your bloodstream, I don't know how to explain this because I'm just a normal person. I'm not a doctor. I'm not advocating this, right? I'm only saying, hey, if you want to go down this path or you're curious, look at my results. This is what's happening, right? I might find that 4 days in, I feel like absolute shit, and that's the end of this, right? I might literally can it. But I'm going to honestly and genuinely do my absolute best to last the 30 days, all right? I'll give you a rundown of how I've gone so far today. Yesterday in the book, we've gotten to the part about what to eat, what you can eat, what you can't. I thought that it was going to be purely just beef, grass-fed. That was my assumption going into the book. But he's kind of outlined a transitional phase for 6 weeks. Man, I want to know if this thing works. I want to know by working it out within 3 or 4 days, a week, whatever, that this is either like super bad idea or not. Right? I've tried keto in the past. I literally lasted, I think, 4 days. Right? Going by, they say this is the exact percentages, and I'm kind of pretty anal about that sort of stuff. So I was counting, I was measuring, and I was trying to get my intake by eating spoonfuls of peanut butter and almond butter and stuff. 4 days in, I felt so bad, so crap that I called it. I'm like, told my wife, because she was doing it too. I'm like, no, this is not happening. On my part anyway. Whereas most people seem to be a lot more lenient. They will allow things this and there, which technically I don't think that that's keto. Again, that's beside the point. I'm going to give this my absolute best for 30 days, right? So in this, I'm going to give you my take on how I felt first thing waking up. Scale 1 to 10. I woke up, my energy levels, my tiredness, I was probably sitting on a 6.5, 7. I'm not normally a morning person unless I'm going fishing, and that's a different story. Most days I'm woken up by my 3-year-old who's just turned 3 to him screaming top of his lungs. So usually calling out for mum, not for me, usually for mum. Yesterday, I've gotten through to the portion of the book where they talked about what you can eat, what you can't eat, and this transition thing. I'm going to skip this transition. We're just going to go as best as I can If you want to follow along and just see, then I'll tell you. Okay, so this morning starts off, my energy levels are about 6.5, 7. Get up, I have breakfast. My breakfast this morning consisted of 4 eggs and some Colby cheese, those cheese slices. I just stuck them over the top of the eggs. I kind of did them sunny side up, but I don't like having any of the runny stuff in it. So just before, I'll usually take the eggs off the pan, they'll take it off the flame, and I'll flip them so that I get a little bit of a crust on the other side, and I don't have this gel business that I find repulsive on the other side, and I'll literally take them off. Normally I'll have them on a bagel or something like that, but this morning we've cut the bagel out. I normally have 2 most mornings. This morning I thought I'm going to cut out the carbs, so I'm probably going to be hungrier. So I put 4. So I've had 4 eggs. That was fine. It's pretty full. All right. I had that with Himalayan cracked salt. That was my breakfast. Everything's cool. Not really feeling that hungry. I've only been drinking water as well. There was no coffee. Lunchtime comes probably about 12:30. I was out with a client. They've had chicken and chips brought into the office. I've had a quarter, which being like a breast and a wing, as well as 2 drumsticks. I cheated though. I've had a handful of chips put in there. All right. So there's already cheat number 1. Later on, I've come home. It's probably 2:30, 3 o'clock. I'm craving sugar. Right, sugar is. I actually think that this whole thing, sugar is going to be my weakness because I have a sweet tooth. I get home from this meeting and I've had 2 bars like those little, the ones from Aldi, the dark chocolate. I've had 2 of those. They're individually wrapped. So knowing I've kind of cheated, come dinner time, I've cut up my wife's bought an eye fillet, and I've done that on the barbecue, and so I've cooked up roughly, based on the portion that I had, raw portion would have been about 350 grams, right? Pretty full, right? Right now, that was 2.5 hours ago. I'm still pretty full. The sugar craving has kind of started. I am having that sugar craving. I'm not going to succumb. I feel full, but just, I think what I might do is I might grab the other thing that I've had so far, I've nearly had an entire litre of coconut water. Coconut water's got electrolytes. I've been kind of warned and seen from these books that you need to keep your electrolytes high if you don't want to have what they call the keto flu. And I don't know what causes it. My suspicion is it's probably a lack of carbohydrate or your body transitioning on how it's using its fuel, and you'll have a period that can last 3-4 days right through up to a couple of weeks. All right. I don't want that. So I've just been warned, I can either have bone broth or I can have electrolytes, and that should mitigate any of that. I don't know how I feel about bone broth. I think we do have some at home. I don't know, and I don't think I'm going to have any. I think I'm just going to stick to either coconut water, which is high in electrolytes, potassium, magnesium, or I'm literally just going to grab the hydrolyte tablets and I'll stick them in water, and I will, for this first couple of weeks, I will be pretty consistent on the hydrolyte. So that's basically it. I'm feeling pretty full. My energy right now is no different than yesterday's, really, other than I just feel full. In my mouth, I am longing for a little bit something sweet, but we're going to push through that. We've had a little bit of a cheat earlier today. I'll just have some more water. I'll go brush my teeth, and that should be it. Right. So This is day 1, right? Let's see. Later on, I'll go weigh myself. I didn't weigh myself in the morning. I'll weigh myself tonight, and I'll put that up on screen. And we'll do this, I don't know, we'll do this daily. So let's see. Now, whatever comes out, comes out. I'm going to try and make this very conversational. I don't want to be spending time editing this. This is information for you guys to digest. This is not I'm not polishing this as a video. This is here for information for you guys that are kind of like me at the moment, who are doubting that everything we've been told is probably not true, or a skewed lie based on somebody's bottom line getting more, you know. We're going to see how we go. I don't know, but come along. I'll put this on a playlist. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that I do want to share my experiences with, and these are things like eliminating aluminium from my deodorant, eliminating chemical-based shampoo, eliminating most soaps, and just how I've gone about it, what effects I've seen, and then some of the symptoms that I've either had before some of this stuff, and my take of it afterwards. If you're curious, you might use this as a bit of something to watch from. I'm not advocating any of this, but let me know what you think. If it's full negative and you're going to be throwing bad abuse and criticism my way, don't bother, right? I will welcome a open discussion that is intelligent and respectful. The moment that you forget your intelligence or your respect at the door if you're going to be throwing things on comments, guess what? They're not going to see the light of day. It's a respectful place, which means that even if you disagree and completely think that I'm full of shit and whatever, that's fine. Find something else to watch, right? This is here for, there's going to be some people that are going to find this useful. This video is for them, okay? So, and if you've got something to add that might help me along my journey because you've already gone through this, by all means, please share, all right? Well, let's see how we go for tomorrow. Ciao.